As requested by Dizzy Des on Instagram, today we'll be taking a look at William Friedkin's adaptation of the play Bug.
They want you to know they're there. Bug.
Before we begin, I kind of want to address something slightly interesting. Let's take a look at my last 3 videos, including this very one. First, we have my review of Blue Submarine number 6, then my review of A Scanner Darkly, which was released in 2006, and now we're watching my review of Bug, which was also released in 2006. What do these videos have in common, you ask?
Bug is a 2006 film directed by William Friedkin that stars Ashley Judd playing this woman named Agnes, who is still dealing with the fact that she was in an abusive relationship. Agnes ends up getting entangled with Michael Shannon's character, Peter, and the two of them find themselves hung up in this conspiracy that they are being infested by bugs, so to speak.
That was weird. There's a lot I really liked about Bug. For instance, the performances are spectacular. Ashley Judd really makes for an extremely likable protagonist, and you really learn to sympathize with her and her issues. Harry Connick Jr. also gives a notable performance as Agnes's ex-husband. He really plays this believably terrible human being, and really adds this toxic sense of abuse and intimidation. Truth be told, within the first half, before the film completely goes off the rails near the end, we'll get to that later, I found his scenes to be arguably the scariest in the movie. There's just this gritty realism in how awful he treats Agnes, as well as this extreme nervous intensity in these various scenes where he's something of a bully to Peter. As for Peter's character, it comes as no surprise that the most noteworthy performance in the whole film is that of Michael Shannon's. You can really see the blossoming here of who would one day become one of our era's finest actors. Apparently he also portrayed Peter in the play version of Bug, so it's really great that they give him a shot here because he does a fucking astounding job. At first, Peter's character seems very closed off, almost autistic in a way, and that evolves into him becoming this completely terrifying maniac. Michael Shannon's transformation in this film turns him into nothing short of an extremely scary horror movie monster. There's this particular scene with him involving tooth pulling that I found to be exceptionally disturbing. I have a hard time believing that this scene will leave my memory anytime soon. I guess what I really appreciate about Bug is that it's clearly going for a more subdued psychological form of horror, but I'm afraid that it doesn't fully commit in that department. The movie takes an awfully long time for the Bug part of the plot to get going, and up until that point it's mostly focused on Ashley Judd and her subplot with the abusive ex-boyfriend, as well as her developing relationship with Michael Shannon. And this in itself isn't the problem necessarily. In fact, this part of the film is when I was most on board. But within those earlier, and in my opinion more enjoyable moments, there is what might be one of the most uncomfortable sex scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I'm not exactly sure what was meant to be conveyed here. Perhaps that this is meant to mark the beginning of what's to be a toxic relationship between these characters? I'm honestly not completely sure, but the scene had such an effect on me that it can't go unnoted here. I guess where the film really started to lose me was with its transition into the second half, becoming solely about this problem with the bugs and a bunch of other government conspiracy bullshit. It just felt like almost out of nowhere these bugs became the most pressing issue in these characters' lives, and it honestly came off really forced and underdeveloped. I suppose in trying to make forgiving sense of it all, I could take it as one of the film's many attempted metaphors. Now that the both of them are sucked into the sheer toxicity, they kind of use this whole bug problem as a means of ignoring their inner demons, perhaps? But my problem with this film, which is so clearly begging to be filled with ambiguity, it doesn't ever pick a clear side. It gives just a bit too much information for it all to be this big metaphorical art film, but it also plays out in this very inconsistent and at times extremely ridiculous manner, to where there's no way you can take this all literally. I'd say the film's biggest issue of this caliber is whenever a government agent comes in near the end, almost seeming as if he's legitimizing a lot of these crazy parts of the plot, which you'd expect to probably be in their heads. Perhaps if the film cued you into an unreliable narrator form of storytelling, it may have worked better, but the movie simply doesn't do so. And by the way they introduced this government agent subplot was honestly fucking piss poor writing.
You even try to stop me, and I'll introduce you to an old friend of yours.
What does that mean?
Who? Somebody's been asking about you. Who? Who? Dr. Sweet? Who's Dr. Sweet? What are you talking about? Somebody's been asking about Peter at the bar.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe we should see that interaction rather than having it lazily told to us? And while in concept the ending they went with could have really worked, the way it was executed I felt was extremely subpar and left me severely dissatisfied. So while these actors really knocked it out of the park here, and while there were also some scenes that genuinely disturbed me, overall I feel like Bug wasn't nearly as good as it could have been. And if it had reached its full potential, it could have really become something masterful. So in case you haven't been watching my previous videos, which, let's be real, you haven't been, what I've been doing is having people request me movies to review, just give my quick brain vomity thoughts on. And so far I'd say it's been going pretty smoothly, so yeah, keep the train going. Comment on this video, any suggestions. You can also message me on my Instagram. It's more reliable to get a response from me if you DM me on there. So yeah, with all that said, my name is Brandon. Go fuck yourself.
Take me away. Oh, how I long for the day. Hey, now can you hear me? I am the wind calling your name. Hey, take me away. I'll go wherever you stay.
Sweet soup.